Hello everybody, welcome to lesson number 22, Six Sigma Green Belt. Today we'll be talking about classic problem solving methodology steps, which is this right here, and then we'll cover the DMAIC process. When we do that, we will finish this section 2, and today what we'll talk about is goals and projects. So by combining what we're doing today, we will finish the Six Sigma goals section as shown here. So moving forward, we'll talk about classic team problem solving steps. The first one, and these are the steps that you may want to use to solve a problem. So number one is identify business or external customer issues and then select one to work on. Don't have too many problems to work on because it's going to get overwhelming. Keep it simple. Do it one step at a time. So number two, actually under number one, you can use the following categories to identify the business and the customer problems. For example, you can do brainstorming sessions. Over here you can use check sheets. And then you do the plan, do, check, act. You implement that. You can do Pareto diagrams. You can use the consensus to reach a decision, and then you can use some other management tools that you may have. So these are the things that you can do to identify a business or a customer problem. Number two is define the problem. In this case, again, when I said keep it simple, again, if in this case it's the problem is too large, you may want to break it down into smaller steps. And go after these one at a time. So try to keep it simple. To define the problem, you can use the fishbone diagrams. You can create a process flow map. Again, you can use Pareto charts. And then the other one is rational subgrouping. You can also use check sheets. And then lastly is systematic troubleshooting. So these are some of the tools that you can use to define a problem. And number 3 is you investigate the problem. In this stage, what you do is you collect data and facts to support the problem. And you can do that by check sheets, implementing or using check sheets. You can do histograms. You can also do process capability analysis. You can do statistical graphings or graph. Use control or run charts. And then you can also use scatter diagrams. To determine if there's a correlation between the two variables. So these are the things that you can do to investigate the problem. Now moving on to number 4. Number 4 is analyze the problem. Over here, what you want to do is try to find and make an effort to find all the possible causes or potential causes. And once you do that, once this is done, then decide which are the major ones. And you can use the multi-voting technique to decide as a team what are the major ones contributing to the issue. And you can use these tools again. One is brainstorming, fishbone diagrams, and the other name for this is the cause and effect diagram. Over here you can do hypothesis testing. Mainly you define your null and alternative hypothesis. You can do design of experiments. Again, feel free to use check sheets, graphs, systematic troubleshooting, and then management tools. So by doing this, you'll analyze the problem, and you can use these tools to support that. So number 5 is you're trying to solve the problem in the stage. So what you may want to do is choose from available solutions that you came up with as a team. And then you select the one that has a significant positive impact to the business. Also, you want to obtain management approval and support to implement these solutions once you come up with. Again, to solve the problem, you can use brainstorming, sessions. Over here you can do Pareto diagrams, and then you also do management PowerPoint or some kind of presentations. You can still use your check sheets. Then you can come up with consensus. And then use any other management tools that are available for you to use. And the last one is, once you solve the problem, you want to confirm the results. Number 6 is confirm the results. And once you are trying to confirm the results, you may see yourself collecting or collect more data and keep records on the whatever solution you implemented. This is critical. You want to try to answer this question here and ask yourself, was the problem fixed? Discuss that as a team. And then make sure it stays fixed. And then you can use, again, check sheets, Pareto diagrams, control or run charts, and also you can utilize the histograms to see how well you're doing. So all these 6 are basically it's a classic team problem solving methodology, and you do this step by step. You finish the step 1, then you go on to step 2, then to step 3, then to step 4, step 5, and then the last one is step 6. Do this in the sequence and you'll see the benefit of it. So over here, what we're going to do is we're going to try to create a flowchart, and the flowchart, what it's going to show is it'll show how the quality tools and other techniques can be utilized to resolve an issue. So we'll create the flowchart on the next slide, because we need the entire slide for the flowchart. So you start with, you select you select conditions to improve. Once you select the conditions to improve or that needs improvement, what you do is you try to study and do observations on the current processes or procedures. At the same time, when you select the improvement issue, you may want to utilize your PDCA cycle. You can do that. At the same time, you can do some Pareto charts just to see which is the highest problem area, and then work on the highest bar first and then proceed to the other ones. So when you're studying the current process, you can do that by creating process flow charts, and they look like this. These are the flow charts that you can use to study your current process. So the next thing is, you may want to look at is the project mission and scope appropriate. Once you can do that, and this is basically your deciding factor. So if the project mission and scope is appropriate, then you can move on to collect or collecting more data or collect more data. This is right after you make sure that the project and mission scope is appropriate. At the same time, when you collect more data, you also may want to look at and try to come up with possible or potential causes. And to do that, you can use the fishbone diagram that Dr. Ishikawa came up with. And then you can see, once you come up with the potential causes, you may want to collect more data to support these potential causes, the majority of them, and then you analyze the data and when you analyze the data, you can use Pareto diagrams. It's up to you. You can use any scatter diagrams, and then you may want to just look at how your process is doing. You can use these statistical tools to analyze your data. And when you analyze the data, then you come to a decision point where you try to answer this question: does the analysis point to a solution? So this is a decision tool right here. If your answer is no, then you may want to consider, or you may want to look at or think about, is more detail necessary? And again, this is a decision point. Once you're trying to come up with if more details are necessary, if the answer is yes, then you go back and collect data. If the answer is no here, then you go back to the stage where you were observing and studying the current process, which we discussed in the previous slide. So once you find out if the analysis that you did point to a solution, then you may want to implement the solution, and then continue with your PDCA cycle. It's a continuous improvement, so it never stops. So this is how the process map is used for trying to solve a problem. The last part here is we're going to talk about the DMAIC process. So the DMAIC process, what it does is, under the define stage, you define the customer, and you identify their critical to quality issues. So under this, you define who the customers are. Define customer requirements. Define project boundaries, start and stop. and then you define the process to be improved. And then you map the process flow. So you can see how the information and how the process flows. So under define, these are the steps that you're taking. You define who your customers are, what their requirements are. You define your project boundaries, the start and stop of the process, so that you don't go overboard. And then you define the process to be improved. And last one, to define the process to be improved, you may want to do map the process flow to get a better understanding. So that's just the define stage of the DMAIC. Moving on to measure. Over here you want to measure the performance of the core business. And what you do is you kind of identify, establish, or develop a data collection plan. For the process or the product. And then you collect data from different areas. And not just one. And you do that to determine the current status or the current stage of your process. So this is what you do under measure. And one other thing that you do is you collect customer surveys, and you may want to do that to determine any shortfalls. Moving on to the Analyze phase. Under Analyze, the data that you collected, you analyze that data. So you basically analyze the data that was collected and process map, mainly to determine root cause of defects and any opportunities for improvement. So again, under Analyze, you're basically analyzing the data and the process map, and you're doing that to determine the root cause of the defects and the opportunities for improvement. And you can use these tools. One is identify gaps between current performance and your future or goal performance. And then prioritize opportunities to improve based on whatever data analysis that you did. It could be a Pareto diagram, which works great. And then you identify excessive sources of variation. The last one is you identify objective statistical procedures and your confidence limit. And that's what you do in the Analyze phase. Under Improve, you improve the target process by designing innovative, creative solutions to fix and prevent the problems. Under this, you create innovative solutions using the best technology that you may have and discipline. After this, the second step is you develop and deploy improvement implementation plans. The last stage is the control. Over here you control the improvements to keep the process on the new course. So you may want to prevent reverting back to the old way. And you may want to develop or establish an ongoing monitoring plan or audits and then last one is to institutionalize the improvements through some sort of system modifications. The main thing to note here is take a look at how closely the DMAIC process steps are in parallelism or are parallel to the 6 classical team problem solving methodology. So this is it for today. We have finished our Six Sigma goals section, and by doing that we have also finished our goals and projects section. And the next slide, I believe it's going to be about the next lesson. It's going to be about the lean or design for Six Sigma. So that is it for now. Thanks for participation, and also the reference material is going to be attached with the video for you to review in case you need to do so. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.